Okay, ready to roll? Ready to rock and roll. Hello, my beautiful friends. It is Mimi here today, and today I'm here with the one and only
Alex.
I'm so good at starting this out.
I know, yeah, you're on the
hyping you
ball.
up. The one and only Alex. I'm so happy to be here with you again, filming a new video together.
Yeah, we filmed last time, did we?
Yeah, it was
Husband
very
and wife
recently.
tag.
However, if you guys are not aware, now the two of us actually have a podcast. So we are now creating creative work very consistently. Podcast is something that Alex and I wanted to do for a while, and we started it recently, and we're having so much fun doing it. I don't know about you, but I am.
Oh, for sure. It's amazing. And 2 episodes a week, so we're dropping episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. And we also have an addition where you guys get to also ask your questions, and we answer once a week as well, which is great. Q&A Tuesday, so lots of great things going on. So.
Yeah, so we're gonna link all of that down below, so check that out. But today's video is gonna be a really fun tag. I've already done mine on my channel. I'm not sure if you've done yours yet.
I have done, yeah.
You've done it on yours as well? Cool. So it was an assumption tag where I was reading and reacting to your assumptions about me, and I thought it would be so cool to also do it as a couple, because I'm sure you guys have a lot of assumptions about us as a couple. And what I like about the assumptions tag is that you get to break through the assumptions. Some are true, but some are so off.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Ready?
There's a lot. I screenshotted my favorites because there were some that got repeated quite a lot. So those are the ones I picked. You haven't read all of them.
No.
So I'm really excited because it's sort of going to be a surprise for you.
Very spicy.
Yeah, some of them are actually definitely quite spicy. Okay, ready? Let's get started. I'm just looking at my phone because I have to read them. Okay, so this is definitely assumption number 1, is that you and I never argue. So this one says, I assume that you don't argue. It doesn't appear that you argue much, if at all. Is that true?
No.
That is not true. And some said fight, so I'd say, yeah, we don't fight, but I think some people use the word fight as an argument.
Okay.
So we do fight in that sense. And by fight, I mean just argue. It's not like we're fighting physically, or there's plates being thrown in the house and pillows.
Yeah, no plates.
So
Pillows sometimes.
Pillows sometimes. This one. So I'll say from my side, we do argue quite.
I wouldn't say a lot. Here's the thing.
Not regular.
I guess from my perspective, and we this is the fun part about this is doing this together.
Yeah.
Is we can break down through these assumptions. Well, I think in regards to arguments, is that arguments actually, I believe, are really healthy.
Absolutely.
For a relationship, but it depends how you argue and what the argument's about. So I would say we don't argue, we communicate. So sometimes the communication can be seen as arguments because we don't agree, but you have to communicate through your, I guess, different points of view, or how you see things differently. Your disagreements, so that's an argument, I guess. We communicate to each other in order to better understand each other and to be able to evolve
and actually get closer.
So I'll say all the time when we had disagreements or arguments, it's always brought us closer, because and we feel very passionate, and you know that I feel especially very passionate about making sure that we're both on the same page, because you never want to be in a relationship where you feel like you're not understood or you can't be yourself. And so this is really what makes us, I think, and what makes us at the same time a very strong couple, is because we do have very strong points of view. However, we're also communicate them to each other and make sure we're heard from both sides. So that's how I would communicate this.
So yeah, I'd say also we don't shy away from arguments for the same reason as Alex mentioned, is that I also believe that arguments are there to actually bring people closer and help each other understand each other better. So sometimes they're still uncomfortable, but when it happens, we just go into it, and sometimes it will take hours, and literally we have to go to sleep, but we can't go to sleep because we have to sit through the argument and talk through it. And of course, we'll always do our best to not allow it to escalate to a fight, but I don't even think we ever had like a fight.
And another thing is like it's not like we wouldn't talk to each other or.
I think that's another question.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, don't
okay.
escalate. Okay.
But I think to reference, and
Yeah.
we'll probably link it down below. We have a video where we have how to have a great relationship.
Yes.
And where we talk, I think we talk about this where
Yeah, we covered this quite extensively.
where this style of communication is actually very important for you to develop a better relationship. A lot of people in relationships, they don't want to go deep and they don't want to have conflict, so they avoid the conflict.
Yeah, so
but I think
the relationship stays quite like superficial.
Level. Yeah, and we're with us, we're like, let's get into it, like like in a way.
Let's get dirty.
Not in that way. In
not
terms
always
of
fun.
physically, but it's more about verbally in a way of how can you get into someone's mind and really feel heard and really feel understood and communicate well. So
yeah, so it's not true we argue not frequently, but I'd say quite regularly. You know,
here's the thing, and we'll get into it as well. This is why this is an interesting video and overall topic of discussion of the whole assumptions thing is that we'll get into the parenting.
Yeah.
I'll say before having a child, like relationship is so like now if I look at people without like children, I'm like, come on, like a relationship is so easy.
Yeah.
If you guys are having trouble when you guys a lot of arguments and fights without a child, whoa, like you'll just escalate.
Wait till you're sleep deprived.
Yeah, because it's just a whole different level. But anyways, let's get into the next
let's go to the next question. There's lots more.
But this is a big one. That's why we have to cover it.
Alex does what Mimi usually says.
You want me to cover it or you want to go at it?
He definitely doesn't do what I say. That's just what I'll say. So that's not true.
I think to how people may view it is because you are a strong individual and this is why I love Mimi's book and I always talk about it more than you talk about it. And
Bingo Theory.
Yeah, Bingo Theory.
If you haven't read it, read it now.
We'll probably make a separate video podcast episode on this, which I think is really important. But the whole concept of the book is about masculine and feminine energy that is within both of us. And how you can actually have the opposite. So Mimi is masculine strength energy. She is alpha. That's her drive. That's how she goes. Me as a man, and that's what Mimi talks about in her book, is that I'm actually feminine strength male. What that means is, it's not that I'm feminine and things like that. I am feminine as my strength. I'm still masculine. But what the whole concept of bingo is that you're balanced. You can have balance of both. And I see myself as a very balanced individual, meaning I can be masculine when I need to be masculine, and I can be feminine when I can be feminine. However, my overall drive is feminine. Mimi's overall drive is masculine. However, you also balance yourself out with being feminine, with being, being put together, being still emotional, listening to us and things like that. So that's a whole different, of course, topic and idea in regards to the bingo theory.
Let's keep it to that. Alex does what Mimi usually says.
But the thing is, I don't. And the reason why I don't is because I have to, because when you live with
He's a very stubborn person.
Yeah, when you live with a strong individual, and this is why you really need to speak about the bingo theory more. It's such an important concept.
Yeah, we'll do a podcast
because this is what allows our relationship to also be balanced. Because I don't, even though Mimi, yeah, go ahead.
I'm gone.
Even though Mimi is an alpha, she's very strong. I still have to defend myself, and I really have to make my needs be put out there, and I have to protect myself and look after myself and love myself. And this is why it's such an important concept, because so many people in so many relationships, they just give in, right? And at the same time, what will happen is if I would give in all the time, then she would also become less interested, because it's part of that balance, it's part of that unique chemistry that we have, and it's important. So I definitely stand up for my rights.
And you don't do what I say.
And I don't do what Mimi says. You just went to the spicy, the really heated ones right away. So
I assume that you have been challenged relationally. I'm not sure if it's the right word, but anyway, since having Alexa, understandably. So I can answer that one.
Sure.
If you allow me to.
Go ahead. Yeah,
I think if we both answer this video, it will be like 2 hours. So I think we can each say like really quickly. I'd say yes, that is true. I think when you have a child, especially in the first year, you're just figuring out this new way of living and being, because until you have a child, you're like the center of the world in your universe, in your own life.
Yeah.
You're the star. And then you have a child, and the child becomes, at least at that tender age of being so small and codependent on you as a parent, the child becomes the center of attention. And it takes time to really adjust to that transition. And of course, that changes the dynamic of a relationship. and also you're sleep deprived, the baby's crying, you're trying to figure out what the child wants. So it can be very stressful. So definitely the first year, I'd say, was one of our hardest years.
It's a big adjustment.
Relationally, I guess
No,
maybe that is
yeah.
the word, in our relationship. But also it brought us a lot closer and made our relationship a lot deeper because we got to know each other more and better. Once you have a child, you have no choice. You're faced with this, you know? So I'm very grateful for the fact that, you know, we had a child and we had to go through maybe a bit of a rougher time in our relationship to become closer.
Yeah, I think from my side, it's a different dynamic. It's just a different perspective. It's a
Yeah.
different chapter that you get to experience. And that's why I said earlier that before, when people would talk about the difficulty of like having children, how hard it is, and when you don't have kids, you can't relate. Even us speaking right now, you're like, who cares? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That would be my reaction before.
It's hard to relate.
Because you just really don't.
Have
it's just that you don't get it, and then you enter this whole different world, and you're like, oh, okay.
You're in it.
You're like, I get what it is. And in regards to the relationship, I think the reason why having children can really take a toll on so many relationships is because certain needs in relationship are not being met. Meaning, the man may feel like left out, or the woman may feel like the husband's not helping out as much because the woman does so much.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you know, there's so many dynamics there. So that's what I would say, definitely for sure, that was a more of a difficult patch of our relationship. However, because of our communication style, we keep going, we keep communicating to each other, we keep evolving.
Looking for the common ground.
And looking for the common ground to how do we better our relationship, how do we grow as individuals.
And I think the biggest change that happened to us when we had Alexa is that before Alexa, like we spent 24/7 with each other. And after Alexa, especially once Alex started going to the office, after she was like about 4 or 5 months, he was no longer at home. He would like literally leave to the office for the whole day, and I would still be with her and work from home. That was the biggest difference that was like harder for me to adjust to because we were together
and still to
for like
day.
years. I think I'm used to it now, you know. And also like now I'm here with you for a few hours in the mornings when Alexa goes to school. It is a lot easier now, but I would say the first year was the toughest year for us since we were in our relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Mimi always interrupts Alex.
I'll say, there we go. I think we interrupt each other in a way.
I get this a lot, and I always laugh at it because in my life, like in our life off camera, I always feel like he actually interrupts me because we both love to talk, okay? I'll admit that. But I feel like Alex loves to talk actually more than I do. And a lot of times,
if you don't interrupt
if I don't interrupt if I don't interrupt him, he just won't let me talk. He could just talk for hours, guys, and he can talk like this. Like, I'm more like direct in my communication where like I know what I want to say and I just say it like quite shortly. Whereas Alex can talk and he'll make this big loop and circle, which is all beautiful and nice. But sometimes I feel like, oh, I want to say something too. And then I just forget him in my point. So I feel like sometimes I just need to like say my thing and then I can listen to him for like an hour. But do I interrupt you? Do you feel like I interrupt you a lot?
I don't take it as offensive. And I think there's a point what you said because I do talk a lot actually. So you have to sometimes get your words in, whether it be in a communication with others or in between ourselves. I never feel that way. I honestly don't. It's not like, oh my God, you're not letting me communicate myself because we really hear and see each other. That's what I would say.
Cool, so now true.
Yeah.
Mimi is the boss.
In what way? Here's the thing. I think this is as I spoke about before in regards to the bingo theory, masculine and feminine dynamic, which is so important in relationships and so many people ignore it, but it's the reality, you deal with it. And if you don't learn who you are and what the relationship dynamic is, meaning relationships can be, the stereotypical how most relationships are portrayed, masculine and feminine, meaning man is masculine, he's a man, and
he's
the woman,
the boss.
he's the boss, and the woman is feminine, and she's submissive and things like that. That's a very outdated
vision of a relationship.
Vision of a relationship.
For us, anyways. Maybe some people.
But I think overall, we really see how relationships have really evolved and there's so many different things. Even I think even gender roles, how it's changing society overall. I posted something the other day.
You just read my mind. You can just post it here.
I'll post it here, but it was along the lines of like, we have no gender roles. We're both bosses. We both make the money. We both hustle. We both cook together. We both cook together. We both clean together. We do everything together. We are in a way equal. And of course, there's still different dynamics. Like I said, I can never be as equal to Mimi to what it means to be a mother. Like, I just can't do that. I can't beat that. But we do our best, and we try our best to be as equal as possible. However, what I'll say is, even understanding myself, and this is where really bingo theory really comes in, is that for me, actually, I don't like making decisions. It's not like at the beginning of our relationship, I did try to play the more of a masculine man part, alpha, and make all the decisions and whatever. And it's just exhausting to me. Like, I really don't enjoy it. Where for Mimi, it's like
easy. Yeah, making decisions are so easy.
So what I do, how our dynamic works is, what I like to do in a relationship, I like to bring the options. Because for me, the most important bit is I like to have options, and Mimi likes to decide. So for me, I don't care.
Does that make me a boss?
I don't know if it makes you a boss. I think it's an equal partnership, because for me,
because that was a big assumption. I'd say like that was the second biggest, or maybe equally biggest, as like you guys don't fight. Like Mimi is the boss. Mimi wears the pants. Mimi.
So what I'm trying to say is, when I'm making the options, I'm good with all the decisions. When I bring you 3 options to make decision on, I'm cool with all 3 of those, right? It's just more up to you to kind of like, and we of course still, because we still decide together, because I bring you the options, you just call the shot on which one, and that's it.
Yeah, I feel like when people say somebody is the boss, it means that that person is in control and that person is the leader. And in our relationship, I'd say that even though I am more dominant, I think we have all figured that out already. Even though I am more dominant, I have my ego quite in check most of the time. I'm still a human being. Our relationship is more of partnership. Regardless of the fact that I'm a very strong person, I'm alpha female, and I'm more driven and ambitious, we work together as a team, and that doesn't make me a boss. I don't exercise that bossiness in our relationship.
Yeah, we still have to both agree to it. There's no such thing as Mimi overriding a certain decision. Like, as Mimi will know, me as well, being persistent or stubborn or whatever you may call it, I only do things in my life that feel right to me. So I won't ever let somebody make a decision for me that won't be honest to my soul and how I feel.
And also, if I were to boss you around, which I can easily do because it's my nature, it would just make you really unhappy as a man. And also as a partner, as a husband, you know.
That's why I stand my ground.
That's why I also don't do it. So, respect.
You went with like the big ones, like right away.
Well, they're all very interesting.
Do they have like lighter?
This is an interesting one. Still in love, like at the beginning of your relationship.
False.
You know why? Because we're in love on a whole different level than we were when we met. It would be very strange to still be in love the same way you were when you first met, because when you first meet, it's still very much superficial. You like each other physically, you know, you attract physically first, always, because that's still very important, whether you admit it or not. When we see somebody, we first judge by the body language, and not necessarily that the person is perfect or beautiful, but it's something superficially that first attracts you to a human.
They even say when you kiss, for example, you exchange, like, it's evolutionary, you exchange saliva, and by the DNA and things like that, you kind of meet your match if it feels right or not. That's why, like, back in the day, if you might kiss somebody, you're like, like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. It's like, I'm kissing my sister or something, right? Because simply the DNA is just maybe too close or too whatever. Proving to your point about appearance and overall connection that you may have for that DNA aspect. But you were saying?
So when we first met, it was I'm not saying it was only superficial, but it is naturally for all people who meet, it's very superficial. It's impossible to know a person the way you know now, after like probably 12 years plus of knowing each other, to know the same way when you first met them. So I'd say it's false, because our love and relationship is so much deeper, is so much more meaningful than it was then. And I love you so much more because I've accepted so much more of you that I now know, which I wouldn't know when I first met you. I assume that you guys live in your own bubble.
Yes, we do live in our own bubble.
Yes, and it's a really nice, soft and cozy and romantic And what other words?
I think the
Positive.
Yeah, I think the importance of creating bubbles or islands or whatever you may call it to
I like the island word.
yeah to distance yourself in a certain way is that it's even on an individual basis, you have to protect yourself and you have to create the reality that you want to experience in your life. We as individuals sometimes can be influenced by others and not be living our own truth, whether it be in a relationship or in society or what your parents think, whatever, is because you're like, oh, I want to fit in. And we talked about this before. It is very important to stay true to your, in a way, your own experience in your own soul, what you want to experience. So for us, we feel very fortunate that we've created an island or a bubble together that we are expanding and building on. But in a way, that's why how we're able to create is by creating this type of bubble where we create this different reality for ourselves.
Absolutely. I think everybody lives in their own bubble, and you make your bubble the way you want it to be. And then once you created your bubble, you can invite more people inside of the bubble. You can all have a party in the bubble. And then if that bubble is really a good one and resonates with a lot of people, then the bubble grows. Even the world as we know it is a bubble in a way that we humans created.
Literally.
That sounds like really deep, but we all share a common bubble and then small individual bubbles. But I feel like we are all responsible for creating our own bubble and then also guarding our bubble so other people don't destroy and bring their own points of views into our own bubble.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy with your own bubble and don't enforce your bubble onto other people, in my opinion, all is good.
Exactly. And I think another point that I want to bring to this question is even though we're in our own bubble, we understand the world,
and we're
aware of
other people's bubbles.
other people's bubbles, or how other people live, or other realities that exist. It's true, we can't deny it. At the same time, that's what I'm saying, it's still important to create your own in a way to protect yourself, because otherwise you'll just get succumbed into a different reality or into different bubbles to really be pulled into that. And hey, if it feels right to you, it's fine. So what I'm saying is we're fully aware of everything that goes on in the world and the reality that exists. However, we choose to create with the intentions that we choose to create, whether it be positivity, optimism, belief, and all that stuff. That's what we want to continue doing.
I assume that it was love at first sight.
False.
It was friendship at first sight. But definitely love was something that happened much later in our relationship.
Yeah, because we were first friends and co-workers, and as we got to know each other, then we kind of fell in love with each other. And I think in a way that's what we both believe in, is that, you know, best relationships are built on friendships. As you grow old together, what will you have? You know, you will still have that partnership and friendship when you're beyond and above, you know, all the things you can or cannot do.
When you're old and wrinkly.
Yeah, exactly.
Mimi is a stricter parent than Alex.
True.
You think so?
I don't know.
I think as a person, I have stronger boundaries. And I don't like the word strict parent. People do say that about me. And I try to really reflect and ask myself if that is true or not. But in reality, I don't treat Alexa any different from what I would treat Alex or my friends. I have boundaries with my friends. For example, if somebody would come up and say, you're an asshole, I would say, I really don't appreciate you talking to me like that, with that tone or using these kind of words towards me. And I would talk the same to my child. So I don't allow Alexa,
Sorry.
That's a nice ringtone. Yeah. So I draw boundaries in the way I would allow her to treat me and allow her to treat also other people. Let's say if she were to hit a person, whether another child or another adult, or being like mean to them, I would also have to draw boundaries. Because I am a very confident person, not to say that you're not, you are as well, but I just see myself as somebody who has stronger boundaries and stands for those boundaries, where sometimes you can be too nice to people and you don't stand for your boundaries. That's just my observation.
With Alexa. Alexa's
yeah,
like,
with Alexa. She's very strong.
Alexa's like Mimi number 2.
She's so strong, but even more intense. She knows what she wants and she wants it now. I assume you have never thought about separation or divorce. This also has been an assumption that came through quite a lot.
Oh, really?
In some relationships, for example, people either have like major fight or disagreement that makes them consider divorce or separation, or in fact, I've known couples like this. Couples break up and then get back together. So
Yeah, we never had that.
It's true, we never ever broke up in like now more than 10 years together.
Yeah, we never had like a separation or...
Even though, of course, in the heat of an argument, sometimes you're like, oh, like I could break up with you if like this continues, because like when you're heated up in a fight or an argument, you feel like you're not being heard. These kind of thoughts have come up, but I didn't exercise them for longer than that argument, because we always solve the argument and we talk until we get each other, without allowing that argument to go over a period of time, like a week or a month or whatever. Because I feel like if we have done that, then of course I might have considered that, because you start considering those things when you don't feel understood, appreciated, loved, I don't know, all those things that matter for most people who are in relationships.
Yeah, no, same points.
Exactly. I assume that you never fight or argue in front of Alexa.
True.
It's true.
So yeah, even if those situations have happened, when you just look at each other or you're like, are you doing? I'll either pull you aside to a different room, and we're grateful that we had somebody at that point when it did happen. My mom was there, and we would talk things through.
We've never had an argument in front of her. I think as she grows older, we will expose her more to the reality of relationship, because I think some people will be like, oh, well, that's not realistic because, it's not real life. Yes and no, because I grew up in a family where all the arguments were in front of me and I was a child, and I really didn't need to see any of that. I accept my parents, but I'm saying I've learned from being a kid how I would want to treat my kid. And I believe I mentioned this in my parenting Q&A. So I would love to spare my child the drama, although as she grows older, we will have more intellectual arguments in front of her, so she sees how we resolve things. But if I feel like things are getting too heated, I would respectfully in front of her ask Alex that we continue this conversation later when we are just one-on-one. And I think also for her, that will teach her a lesson that when she has an argument with somebody, I think it's the best to do it one-on-one rather than doing it in front of an audience.
Yeah, and actually for myself, I've never seen my parents argue.
Ever. No. That's crazy. I cannot imagine.
I literally don't have memory.
Not even once. And I'm sure they did that intentionally, or maybe they just never fought.
No, they did, but I'm sure. But I think they just kind of kept it between themselves, not in front of us. I don't recall that.
I think it's too much for kids to handle. It's just too much for them to comprehend.
This is like a very deep conversation.
Okay, let's keep it short now, because I really want to go through the other one. So that's going to be the goal, is to keep it like to 2-3 sentences each. I assume you guys are absolutely perfect. That was another frequently thrown assumption. I love seeing your photos and IG stories. Thank you so much. And no, we're definitely not perfect. I feel like I've said this so many times.
I think you can tell from this video too.
Yeah, like what exactly is perfect about us? Like, I don't know. I don't really see. I mean, we have a good relationship. I would say a fantastic relationship. And it's been something that I've always wanted to have. It's been always a dream of mine to have a respectful, loving relationship where I feel safe, where I feel comfortable, where I feel like home. And I'm so grateful that we have that. But I don't believe it's perfect in any way. Maybe it is admirable, maybe it's desirable, but it is not perfect, guys. Like we said, we argue, we have some dirty laundry that we need to wash sometimes. Not just metaphorically, but literally, we clean the house, we tidy up, we do the dishes, we have a regular life. We go to the washroom like you do and sit on the toilet. It is not perfect. We're human just like you are. So never assume somebody's perfect just because they might look or they might have something that you desire.
But I think the other thing that people might assume is that, you can't judge through social media, just in general. And it's that maybe some people share everything on their social media, but I think we really use social media as an element to be able to really share, in a way, our best selves, but also what we want to create in this world and what we ourselves want to experience. It is inspiration for ourselves as well. It's literally such a tiny glimpse. And I think with these longer videos or through our podcast, you can go a little deeper with us.
And you can see we're definitely not perfect.
And get to know us a little on a deeper level of how we are. But I think the most important bit to understand is we're just constantly trying to improve as people, and we're really working on the growth mindset in ourselves of understanding that it's not like we get somewhere in life and that's it, we're stuck. Whether it be in our relationship, a lot of couples thinking, okay, you get married and that's it. Wow, you got married, congratulations. For us, we don't even take marriage seriously. In a way, of what I mean by that is, bless
Excuse
you.
me.
True, and it's a very controversial thing, but this is just the beginning of your relationship. And why so many marriages go sour is because you're like, all of a sudden you get married, you have all these expectations and ideals, and you're like, well, this was supposed to happen. But the reality is, this is just the beginning, and then you're building.
That's where the real work starts.
Yeah, and then you just start building on. Then you have a child, and a child is like a whole different graduation from being married, because marriage is commitment. Child is like the ultimate life commitment. With marriage, you can still divorce and not see each other. With a child, you're most likely you're sharing an individual. You're gonna have some sort of a connection for most likely the rest of your life. All we do is try to just improve and always work on ourselves and understand that we're not perfect.
Mimi never snaps at you, Alex.
True.
You can answer that.
Yeah, Mimi doesn't snap.
I'm not the type of person who snaps.
Alex can snap.
Yes, Alex does snap. He's the more emotional one. Oh, this one is so funny, guys. I just had to put this out here. I assume you're in it for the money. Who is in it for the money?
I don't know.
Me?
I don't
It's funny because I think a lot of the people who might follow me on Instagram don't know our full story as a couple. And sometimes I get these messages where it's like, oh, she married him for his money. And I'm like, what money? I married a broke guy. Like, we were both broke. We built this together. But yes, I'm not in it for money. Alex wants second baby, but you don't. I think every assumption was very similar. Nobody said, I want a second baby. And I'd say this is true. This actually started a really long conversation last night when I read it. And I was like, we don't want a second child together, or do you want one? And he was like, actually, I wouldn't mind having a second child. And I was like, what? Because
it was a little bit,
yeah, until yesterday, I didn't realize that's something you were open to. But in all reality, and I think through a lot of communication with each other, what we know now after having one child, and sometimes you discover things about your partner after you have a child, because you might have some idea of how you're going to be as parents, but then in reality when you get there it can be a completely different story. So when we got to actually become parents in real life, we realized we have similar vision of parenting and philosophies on how we want to raise Alexa. We're completely aligned, and I'm so grateful for that. That's very important. But when it comes to parenting day to day, we're very different. For example, Alex is very hands-off. He's cool to like outsource most of the parenting. I'm the opposite. I'm like very hands-on. I don't want to outsource any part of it. I want to change every single diaper. I need to be there for every nap. I mean, she doesn't nap anymore, but up until she was 2, I was there for every nap. I put her in. I have to be there when she wakes up. And it was even hard for me to like have appointments, and I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to leave for like even an hour or 2, because I'm very grateful and I really want to be there for every moment. Like, I just know this is not going to last forever, and I truly treasure every second I get to spend with her. And then 2, I just feel a strong responsibility that as a parent, I am the best person to provide to her. And again, because I know it's such a blessing to be a parent and to even have that luxury to be present with your child. I mean, I am an entrepreneur, so I have a choice when I can work. I know a lot of parents don't have that choice, especially mothers, which breaks my heart. I think everybody should have a choice. But I know that I have that choice, and I definitely exercise my choice. And I've chosen to choose her over other things in my life in this period of time. And then after she's 3, she's gonna start going to school more and more, and then I'm gonna be the one looking to spend time with her. Anyways, this is like a long explanation. So yeah, we have very different parenting styles, and for that reason, if I were to have another child, it's like doing everything all over again. And I'm just like, I wouldn't commit to something if I don't believe I have to give. So for me to have another child, I would have to have it in my heart that I can commit to that, because I feel every child, or at least the child that I bring into this world, deserves like at least one committed parent. Again, this is my idealistic view of parenting. I realize this is not how the world is, but this is how my idealistic world of parenting is, and his isn't. Even in our relationship, that's not the reality.
So as you can tell, Mimi's very passionate about that point. And I think in our relationship, one of the biggest things that we've learned, as you said, is that the only one thing that we really have differences on, everything else, our vision, our values, everything is like pitch perfect. I'm so grateful for everything. But one thing where we do have very, very different opinions is, like you said, on parenting style. So I guess
style day to day.
just to bring my point of view into this question of why I say I wouldn't mind having a second child. For me, I'm not as committed as Mimi is. And maybe it's also might be a male thing as well at the same time. The hormones that a woman may go through when having a child and having that connection, because you literally you carried this child, you brought this child into this world, you are connected to this child.
But also not every woman feels like myself,
of course,
and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but you've experienced it this way. You have this deep connection to Alexa and into motherhood. But I guess from my perspective, like I said, I wouldn't mind having a second child if it was more relaxed to how I see it, where I'm okay with delegating a lot of stuff, whether it be nursery or things like that, and not being a full-on parent like Mimi is. But the thing is, and this is what we communicated to you yesterday, is that ultimately it's a woman's decision in regards to bearing a child and bringing it into this world, because the woman is
so most of the work from getting pregnant to carrying it, then choosing to breastfeed, then staying or not with the child.
So what I'm trying to say is, for me, is that it's not a deal breaker. You know, I'm not like, hey, I must have another child. Is that I'm really grateful for Alexa already. I'm really grateful for us to be as parents. And that's the most important bit.
It's truly a dream come true.
And it's totally cool. That's where a relationship is. You have to work together on how to move forward with certain important decisions in life.
Yeah, and not just think about yourself. Egoistic point of view.
Yeah.
Respecting each other's views and opinions. And of course, if it's a deal breaker, it's a different thing. But in our case, it's not a deal breaker. And unless I have the same feeling and desire of bringing a human into this world where I can commit to the same way, I just wouldn't make that decision. And right now, I'm just not there. Like, I'm very happy with the way things are.
Yeah.
I assume Alex isn't allowed to go out with buddies for beers at a pub.
What do you mean, like, not allowed?
I'm the boss, remember?
Yeah, no, I go out when I want to go out.
Alex goes out way more than I do, and he's allowed to do anything he wants to. And then there's people who say these things. I assume Alex is possessive about Mimi.
Yeah, I've never been possessive. And
No.
I think it's been maybe one of the biggest surprises to you.
Yeah, I remember when we first started dating, and I was like, hey, I'm going to a club with the girls tonight. And I expected he's going to be like, no, or like he's going to be jealous. He's like, oh, that's amazing, have fun. And I was like, what do you mean? You're not jealous? We're like talking on the phone. And he's like, I still remember this conversation so clearly. And he's like, no, I'm not jealous. Why would I be jealous?
It's like, I trust you.
I trust you fully and I love you unconditionally. And I was like, what? This is so different, but because my previous relationships, I never had like long-term serious relationships. But even the short ones, I feel were very dysfunctional in that way because the guys were very possessive. And it was so new, and it was something that I really had to just really, in a way, accept and see as a normal thing, because until I met Alex, in a way, I still believed to a point, even though I wanted this perfect, this very like welcoming, accepting relationship, part of me doubted whether that was ever possible. You proved it to me that it actually was. It's possible to respect each other, trust each other, let each other go when needed, and trust that the person will come back, that the person won't cheat on you, that the person will be there for you when you need them as well, and will respect you, will love you fully and unconditionally. And that's exactly what I have in our relationship. I'm so grateful. I assume you're both kombucha lovers.
Yeah, we love kombucha.
Yes, you assume right. That's what we drink. Not every night, but every once in a while. We love kombucha.
We gotta learn how to make our
so
own.
Satisfying.
I want to learn. I tried to make it, but it failed. But we can try again.
It's a complicated process to make your own kombucha. I assume at nighttime you fight over the blanket to stay warm. We have one long blanket, and I don't think we ever fought over it. It's a pretty long blanket.
No, sometimes you do take more of the blanket.
You think
sometimes.
so?
Yeah, remember? Or you take more of the bed even sometimes.
I'm definitely...
But the reason you take more of the bed, you're like, I want to be closer to you. I'm like, I need my space.
Yeah, we have a queen bed, guys. It's a funny story, actually. So when we travel, a lot of times in the bedrooms where we stay, the bed will be like quite
King
massive,
size?
like the king size. And I feel like on a king bed, I just lose Alex. And I get so sad at night. Okay, not like really sad, but like I look for him in my sleep and I can never find him. So we always have this joke that like we'll never have a king size
Well,
bed.
you don't want a king size bed.
Well, I don't want to have one, but Alex is kind of like, you know what? I think it would be great to have a king size bed. I'm like, no, but we'd never snuggle anymore. I would lose you in the bed. But really, we'll always lose each other in a king size bed. So I'm happy we have a queen size bed.
But most of the time, we don't fight.
No, we don't fight over the blanket. I assume Mimi planned Alex's proposal to her.
What?
I had no clue.
Yeah, I proposed to Mimi in Positano, Italy. This is before we have money, before anything. We made that trip work on somehow $1,500 Canadian dollars for 10 days in Italy, in Amalfi Coast. We stayed in bed and breakfast, like way up in Nocelli for like, I think it was like 60 euros a night or something like that. It was amazing. We took the bus, we did everything. And
I didn't see it coming at all.
The reason I proposed, it was very early in our relationship. I was like 22 probably, right?
Yeah.
22, 21. Yeah. And that really happened because I'm like, I feel like this is it. And we had this trip where we were going with Layla and her boyfriend at the time. And I just felt it was like, why not? This is the right time to do it. So I did it. And I
said yes.
You definitely did.
But I was like, what? Really?
No.
This is like the worst time?
And at the same time,
okay.
a lot of girls do this. They make their boyfriend choose the engagement ring or whatever.
You had no clue what I liked.
No, I had no clue what Mimi liked. I didn't even know how I got your ring size. And I ordered on eBay. It was a cheap engagement ring. But the thing is, even after, you're like, I don't even want to wear diamonds. It's a whole different kind of conversation.
Well, because there's a lot of unethical diamonds out there. Actually, I have a video on that. I'm going to link it down below.
Right,
that's
cool.
a whole different topic. But yeah, I did not know he's going to propose at all.
Aww.
I assume you care about your followers. Aww. You assume, right? Both of us really, really, really care about all of you guys watching. And it is the only reason we're still creating the content that we are. Because a lot of times, I'm aware of the fact that I don't have to do YouTube. For me, YouTube is not...
income,
yeah, it's not where my income comes from. I don't even know half of the time if the ads are turned on or off. Like, I don't know where I'm like clueless when it comes to AdSense on YouTube. Like, I don't look at myself as a YouTuber. I just look at myself as content creator on different platforms, and whether it's podcast, Instagram, or YouTube, wherever the information will go and actually spread, that's where I like to create. And I create because it gives me meaning. And the deeper the content I create, the more meaning it gives me. So that's why I really love the podcast that we're doing now. It like goes a lot deeper. Because in real life, I'm
this video. This video
goes deeper. Like, what gives me the most satisfaction is like really cool creative videos, or the really long, like talking deep videos. Like, I'm the most excited to rewatch them or read the comments to see how you guys felt when you watch them. And I just love reading your comments. Thank you so much. I don't always respond because it's impossible, but I love you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you watching and tuning in and like really virtually spending time with each other. It feels so real. It's honestly like, I'm so grateful when I meet you guys in person because I feel like I know all of you guys. And it's easy because you guys know us already as well.
Thank you. Is that it?
Almost. A lot of people assume this one. You have a lot of sex. Either people said you have a lot of sex, or they said you never have sex. Although I'd say we have a very healthy relationship with sex, we're not one of those couples that does it every single day. So that's all.
I just don't. Where's the time?
Yeah. So yeah, when we do it, we have a great time. But it's not a daily thing for us, that's for sure. That's not the dynamic we've ever had.
I don't know who has that dynamic. Maybe maybe earlier on.
No,
yeah,
there is in a masculine male, feminine female strength relationship. This is usually the dynamic. It's doing it pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
Anyways, on that nice, sexy note, we can end this lovely long assumption video. Thank you so much for sending all your assumptions through. I had a lot of fun filming it. Did you have fun?
Of course, it's just super long. This is like a podcast. So if you guys, like I said, watching or listening now, really appreciate you sticking out throughout this whole video or audio, however you may be consuming it. But this is a great way to go deeper.
If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to not miss other videos like this one. And make sure to leave a comment down below. Did you assume any of these things? And if you did will surprise you today. Thank you again for watching. Big kisses and hugs, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.